talk about something that has been repeating in my head. Oh, let me see here. Let's see. Here we go. All right. This is what I call a pop-up live. Okay, that means it's not scheduled, it's not a reading, it's not pulling tarot cards or anything. When I do these pop-ups, it's more of a discussion. Okay. The reason why I do that is because sometimes spirit wants me to say something that has nothing to do with readings. And I'm like, okay, so this is one of these days that spirit wants me to talk before my actual session with my exclusive family later on in an hour. All week, I've been, hi, City of Angels, hi. All week, I've been hearing the words soul purpose, soul purpose, soul purpose. And a lot of it has to do with ourselves. I've already talked about how we need to understand that there's two sides of us. That's like we're like a coin, like a quarter or a coin, and there's two sides of the coin. All right. There's a physical side of us, like the physical and mental side of us, and then on the other side of the coin, there is a spirit side of us. Okay. I explained that in one of the videos. I think it's the one that has 1,300 views. Okay. I explained that. So you want to go check that out or want to talk about it. Okay. And the reason why we have two sides of the coins is because we're in this world, right? And we do a lot of our analogy and values and beliefs and what feels right to us. Okay, maybe it's religion, maybe it's the way of circumstances that you learn through experience. Okay, and that would be kind of like the physical side of us. But then we also have the spirit side of us, is where we dream premonitions. Hi, Mary. We dream of things that come to pass, like when we dream premonitions, or we'll have visions, we'll hear spirit, we'll sense spirit, our body will react to when spirit is around us, or we'll, some of us will have psychic images and just information flowing to us. Rhonda, you like that? This is a scarf I've had. I forgot I had this scarf. I saw it hanging up and I'm like, wait a minute, I could use that. And I've only used it once, and that was like about 2 years ago. Okay, but I want to this right here is not just about Valentine's. It's about projecting love. Okay, projecting love, care, kindness. All right, and faith as well, because I got a lot of positive sayings up here. Hi, Oasis. So the reason why I have a pop-up session coming up right now is because Spirit wants me to bring this up to you. And I told my team, I was like, I know about my own experience, about my soul purpose, but what about everybody else? You know, and they said, just go online and we'll do the rest. Okay. All right. So I got to do that. So I'm just going to let spirits flow. I'm going to start with a little bit of my own experience, because they say they want me to say, talk about it so you have a better understanding or a better connection, or maybe a better perspective or comprehension on how this works. Okay, because a lot of people are wandering around the world as, what is our soul purpose? What's my soul purpose? What am I supposed to do? Why am I here? You know, what is my soul purpose journey, right? And so, and that was the main theme that it kept going on and on and on in my head, like soul purpose, soul purpose. We need to talk about soul purpose. I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna do that right now, okay? Before my actual event going on, okay? So my own experience, like I said before in the past, that I've been born with my abilities, and all my entire life, I've had this feeling like I was supposed to do something. I'm supposed to be somewhere, or there's a place for me what I'm supposed to do. I just had no idea what it was, and it was kind of like a yearning in my heart or in my soul or within my being. Like I'm yearning, I'm supposed to do something, but I just don't know what. I just couldn't put my finger on it, right? So I was been going through that my entire like childhood life. Hi, Dolly. My entire childhood life, and it's always been in the back of my head, like I'm supposed to do something, but I don't know what. And I figured maybe I'll find out later when I get older, because I'm still a kid, right? Okay, so but I always it felt like almost like a void, like an empty space. Like there's something missing, right? We all have something similar feeling like that, right? Like there's something, like there's someplace I'm supposed to be, or I'm supposed to do something, or you just don't know, right? So, and it's like there's a certain calling, and you don't know how to answer that calling because you don't know what it is, but it's like something's calling you to do something, and you don't know what it is, right? And that's where a lot of people kind of get lost in that, because they don't understand how finding our soul purpose, or where to look, or how to start, or anything like that. So that's what my spirit team wants me to come online to talk about that really quick before my 3 o'clock session for our exclusive family. So what I'm going to do is, I know there's going to be some people that are going to miss it. I'm going to slice and dice it, and I'm going to upload this for everyone to get check it out later if they're not able to check it out now. So during my childhood, I've had this yearning or this feeling of a calling. I'm supposed to be do something, and I had no idea what, right? So, so as I got older, like in my teens, I still had this yearning and nudging, and it's like, I'm still trying to figure out what it is. So we go to school, we get good grades, we hang out with family, make new friends, and amongst all that daily life thing, we still feel like there's something missing, right? There's like a void, or that you just don't feel complete just yet. So, so we go through life like that, and we keep wondering, what is our sole purpose? Because we feel this void within ourselves. Okay, so so we go through life, and we go through how we're raised, like, go to school and get an education, get a good job, make lots of money, or make money that is, that makes us content, or help families, okay? And so when we get older, and then maybe we've already got established, and we still have that void. We still don't know what our sole purpose is, right? That happens, okay? It happens. And when as I got older, I grew up in the church. I had no idea that I was going to do this type of work at all. None. I mean, I wasn't frowning upon it, because I know there's a scripture in the Bible that don't go to seances and mediums and all that. And I understand that text. It was explained to me back from the angelic beings in heaven, of that certain text, and it's misunderstood. All right. And there's a reason why back in those times they said that. All right. It doesn't apply to us here now in this time, though. All right. So that's for another, that lecture is for another day. But anyway, so I grew up in the church, and my mom was a ordained minister, and she had the gift of healing in hands. Okay, she would go and pray for people, even for salvation, or maybe they were sick, okay, or maybe they wanted to repent, or maybe they need a little bit of counseling, okay, and she would pray with them. Okay, so there's different ways on she used her abilities, and that was her thing, her gift that she wanted to do, and that was her purpose. That was her sole purpose. Now, she didn't know that she was going to do that herself when in her younger years either, because um she was a Catholic, and from what her story, she told me that she was the youngest in her class who made confirmation. All right, she was the youngest because her mom was very strict. My grandmother, her mom was very strict with her and made her learn, and go through confirmation. So, but she was, and then she switched to Christianity after that when she got older. So she had no idea, that she was going to do this either. So it kind of like was her path was kind of like led into that. It was her journey. Okay. My journey was a little different because I was a little more. I'm the type of person that just doesn't stay within the confines of a church. I expand broadly. Okay. I enjoy meeting new people. I think it's a lot of fun. You guys have fun with me, right? Yes. Okay. So I was my idea of what I wanted to do with my life was a little different than what she was doing, and like I said, I didn't have an idea that I was going to be in any type of a ministry or anything like that, even though I could have, because I got asked to be a producer in the TV programs and all that stuff within the church. I could have pursued that and get on a payroll and all that. And I used to sing solos in the church as well. But I mean, even people today, when I see the old church members, says, "Do you still sing?" I'm like, "Oh no, I don't do that no more." Okay, so it's like God had other plans. so talking about our sole purpose, so we wander through our whole entire life wondering, where do we belong, it's like almost like you're trying to find a place where you fit in and where your life is complete. Okay, now here's a couple of things that would help you to get an idea, because everybody's circumstances are different, everybody's upbringing is different, everybody's experience is different. Okay, but there's one thing that always stays pretty much the same, is your what your interests are. There's a clue, because when I was younger, it wasn't like psychic ability was an interest. It was just, I knew it was part of my life. Okay, because I grew up this way and nothing surprises me. Okay, and nothing scares me about paranormal anything, because I've seen it all already. Through my entire growing up, and I've heard stories, and I can sense some vibration when I get these stories. My mom's the one that tells me these stories, because she goes out there with the other pastors to do like exorcism, or praying for the people who actually need removal of these entities and stuff like that. So I already know all about that, and so it doesn't really phase me that it would for other people that hasn't been going through that. But actually, what's kind of scary for me is actually the movies. Believe it or not, it's the movies than the real life stuff, because in the movies, some of it is just like overdone, too extreme, and I mean, some of it is bad, but because it's the movies, they can kind of like overdo it. Some of it is not that bad, all right, but it is bad, but the appearance isn't that bad. Okay, so about our sole purpose, getting back on track here, is a lot of what you need to do is you to find your place, to find where you belong, or where you're supposed to be in life, or where you're headed in life. If you want to feel complete, is that you got to start within yourself, to look within yourself and see what your your love is, what your interest is, what really attracts you and makes an impact to you. Okay, like for some people, it would be maybe helping loved ones. Maybe, hi April. Maybe it's being you're very intuitive as far as being like a psychiatrist. People come to you for help, right? Maybe, things like that, because a lot of uh, our interest turns into what our soul purpose is, because a lot of times what it is that our interest, our deep interest that impacts us, leads us into our soul purpose. All right, if you can understand that. Okay, so but for me, like I said, I didn't have no idea I was going to do any mediumship type thing, even though I've already known how to do this. But I've always been willing to help people, because people will come to me for advice. That's, there are some people you can come to for sound advice, right? I was getting that. But being unbeknownst to me is that it was kind of like shaping me or grooming me to be in later life, to learn how to communicate with other people as people come to me to talk to me. All right, so it kind of it flows that way. Okay, and so what you want to do is you want to look inward within yourself, see what impacts you. It doesn't always have to be spirit. It can, like spiritual thing. It could be like, maybe you're into science. Maybe you're into the moons and the stars. Maybe you're into ocean. Maybe you're into like the species, like exotic species or rare species. It's a lot of things like that. Okay. Because like I said, your own interest doesn't always have to be a spiritual one. It can also be whatever is science-based or a psychological. Okay. Some people are, very good at handling people with psychological issues. And some people go to school for that, right? Okay, so that's where you find, and what you can do is you write down what impacts you. Write those down, write it down, and see. Thank you. See, if you see kind of like from back then, like maybe high school or junior high, all the way up to now, that theme. Okay, is it going to that towards kind of like a direction of what you already know how to do? Okay, maybe you want to try something different. You want to step out of your comfort zone and say, maybe you're like very good advice, right? And you want to do something a little different. Maybe it has to do with adolescence. Okay, maybe it has to do with child development. Okay, you want to go to school for that. Maybe that's an interest. You want to go for school for that. That can also be a sole purpose. Okay, like I said, it doesn't have to be a spiritual experience to have a sole purpose of a full circle of your life, and not feeling this wondering what your soul purpose is. Because once you find it, you're going to know that it is complete, because your heart and your soul is not yearning anymore. It stops. And it's like, and you kind of like relax, and it's like you don't get this feeling that you're searching anymore, because you've already found it, or you have found it into what you're doing. Okay. So if you feel like if you feel right now that you're happy, you're content, and you don't feel that yearning, or you're missing out, or a void, or anything like that within yourself, then that is where you're supposed to be. Okay, that's where you're supposed to be. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to expand and do something else, or do something completely different. There's nothing wrong with that. But your soul and your soul purpose within your soul already met that part of you that you no longer have to search. Okay. So for me, like I said, I've always had this feeling that I was looking for something, or I have missing something. And then later, when I was in my 20s, I felt like I was being trained for something. Oop, excuse me. Being trained for something, and I didn't even know what. So um, and I even talked to a medium who is certified by the Forever Family Foundation, and she was telling me, yeah, what's happening is that she told me that, yes, I'm learning a whole lot really quickly, and it's like the student will end up teaching the teacher. That's how quickly I was learning. And I'm like, okay, because that makes sense, because I was learning a lot through my journey, regardless if it was life or if it was something spiritual. And that's when I had to, hi Missy, that's when I had, during that time in my teen years and my part of my adult life, I had to learn to coexist with both of me, but the mental and the physical side of me and the spirit side of me. And because, like I said, I was going through life wondering, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do something, but I do not know what. I cannot put my finger on it. Okay, I'm doing good, Missy. And so it's like throughout my entire life, it was going through a certain pattern that I was learning about myself. That's why I always talk about self-discovery, right? Everything that we do and we learn is our own self-discovery, regardless of where we're at in our life. Okay, we learn something. And don't think you don't, you do. Okay, even when you don't, you do. Okay, and so all of a sudden it just kind of moved, and the way my journey, it just kind of moved into where I started to connect with people, not only giving advice, but then I started giving spiritual advice, and then it turned into a reading, like some tarot cards. I started with that, and some pendulums, started with that, and then after that I started just full on letting those other tools down and just using my own abilities. Okay, and that's how it all started. And when I start using my own abilities without the tools, that's when I felt I was complete. And I noticed it was kind of like an aha moment, like, oh, you know what? That yearning went away, that calling went away, that void went away. And that's where I understood that this is where I'm supposed to be, what I'm doing right now. Okay, this is what I am called to do, is to connect with you guys, to give you messages from whatever needs of messages that you need, that occur, that you need answers to. That's why I tell people there is no such thing as a dumb question. Regardless, even if it's a simple question, it's not a dumb question, because it's important to you. If it's important to you, then it's important to me to give you those answers. Okay, so that's why I say there is no dumb questions or anything like that. Okay, so I will never call you stupid. All right, never call you stupid. If you have a medium or somebody calling you names or trying to degrade you, then cut them off. All right, because they're not supposed to do that. Mediums are supposed to be here to help and to assist humankind. All right, that's it. That is our work. Some of us can connect with loved ones, some of us can't. Okay, or don't know how and need more practice. But regardless, anybody doing any type of spirit work is not supposed to degrade people. You're supposed to help and lift them up, and show compassion and love and care. It's very important, because there's if they, nobody wants somebody who is connected to the other side to degrade you and embarrass you right in front of the people out in the open. And I don't do that. I don't. And even if it's like a question that question that is a little ridiculous, I don't put myself out there to degrade anybody of their questions. Okay, so it's very important to know and feel a connection to a person that does any spirit work, regardless what it is. If it's a tarot card, a psychic, a mediumship, energy work, Reiki, anything. Okay, if you're getting feeling off about something about that person is doing, then that means your intuition is telling you something's off about that person. All right. Maybe you're not agreeing with what they're saying. Maybe you're not maybe the vibe is conflicting with yours. Even though you hear what they're saying, but the vibe feels different. That's what that's telling you something. It's giving you those little intimate nudges saying something's off about this person. Something's not right about this person. Okay. So it's, pay attention to those nudges, pay attention to those flags. Okay. It's regardless for anybody, people, you get weird vibes from people, right? If you're standing next to them, it's like, oh, I got a real vibe about this one. Well, it's your intuition is telling you something. Our intuition is connected to our soul. Our soul will never let us down. It's never going to steer us. Okay, so that's another thing we have to learn is to coexist with our spirit self and our mental physical self, because a lot of people go through hi Lena, a lot of people go through depression, anxieties, okay, and worries and stress. Yes, all of that is happening in the world. We know that, but we also can control our own energy frequency. When we feel this intense anxieties or depression or stress, that is a catalyst to in it like put more anxieties on us, on ourselves. Okay, so that's why it's very important to learn to control our own energy frequency, because when we tamp it down a little bit, have a little more control of it, then we can also control our anxieties so we don't get panic attacks. Okay, and there's nothing, it's very, it's normal to feel nervous and like scared or whatever, but when it gets to the next level of worry, scared, paranoia, and it's increased, and with each increase your energy frequency increases as well. Okay, and then it just goes out in full chaos, and our energy frequency just shot, and we're like overwhelmed, and we just want to hide and cover ourselves in the blanket and tell everybody leave me alone. Right. Okay, so hi Elite Goddess. So we have to be mindful for that. Okay, so going back to our soul purpose, so think about what impacts you in your life. I mean, you can even start through grade school. All right, and from grade school all the way up to now, to whatever age you are, and see what the pattern is of what impacts you. All right, write it down. You can write it down. That would help you a little bit. And then that will give you an idea of a path that you can move forward in. Okay, because I know, like I said, there's a lot of people are looking for their soul purpose and they don't know how or where to start. Well, this is a start, is to write down what impacts you first. All right, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a spiritual thing or a psychological or a physical thing, like science or psychology, anything, okay, like that. So but we want to do either or. All right, right there, because our soul purpose works with both sides of us. Okay, like you could there could be somebody who really wants to be a doctor, and they feel a calling for being the doctor, and so they and they've always been smart, and they've always been very meticulous and detailed, right? So they go through school, starting grade school, into all of these science-based schools, Magnus and all that. Hi, Wendy. And so they go through all that. So that is, you see, there's a little patterns that are going up from people growing up in their life, and it's leading up to because this is what they're calling, they want to do. And then once they reach that success of finally getting their doctorate, in their residency, boom, okay, then that would be their soul purpose. That would make them feel complete, because they're helping people. They're showing compassion to others. See, that is also part of the spirit side of us, okay? Because they're showing compassion, all right? Because there's two sides of us that's joined together, okay? So there's a scientific part where we're intelligent, okay, and we want to help others, and then there's a spirit side of us where we're compassionate, and you feel the need that you want to help mankind. So that's it goes, those two interests come together, and it ends up being like a soul purpose of their journey. So you want to look back of your journey from starting from even young grade school all the way up to now, okay, and see where it's taking you. You can kind of get an idea, all right, and then also you would see a pattern of where you got off the track, maybe. Maybe like, I took a like a alternative turn, and then you notice things is not falling into place. Well, that's because you're going against your soul purpose. All right. So if things are failing when you got off track from that, then and you're not succeeding, or you're not progressing, or you're not thriving, then that means you're going against your soul purpose. You want to get back on track. So you got to do that. Go back from where it all started, when you notice things is starting to take a turn that is not beneficial to you in your life. Okay. So you got to think about that. Let me see. Oh, okay. So it took a while for me to learn about my soul purpose, because like I said, I had no idea I was going to do this in my life. I thought I was just, I'm just going to go and retire and just travel, and it didn't happen that way. Okay, Spirit had other ideas. After my daughter got accepted to college, she moved out, and because the college where she's going is like about 3 hours away from me. So she moved out and stayed on campus there. And I'm like, oh, now it's just me and my cat, so I have nothing else to do. And I figured, I want to start traveling. And then soon after that, Spirit said, no, you got other things to do. It's time to get to work. I'm like, what are you talking about? Get to work. Okay. And so I have all that information on my YouTube channel. Matter of fact, I have now attached the link on my profile, my YouTube channel. You can tap on that. It'll take you there to all of my awesome videos that I share with the public of what it's like for me being a psychic kiddo, being a psychic kid growing up, and all of my experiences and things like that. So it's been an interesting journey.